The sharp white lights of the Confederation Assembly Hall hurt Han Jun's eyes. After 6 months in space traveling to the central meeting point of galactic civilization, he still wasn't used to the alien lighting. Everything about this place felt wrong. The air too thin, the gravity too light, the ceiling too high. "Captain Han, please pay attention." The voice of Ambassador Choi broke through his thoughts. "They're about to announce the decision on Earth's military status." Han straightened his navy blue uniform and nodded. As Earth's military liaison to the Galactic Confederation, he needed to focus. This meeting would decide the future of human defense capabilities. The assembly hall held representatives from over 300 species. Most were humanoid, but others defied easy description. Han spotted the tall, thin Lintari with their blue skin and 4 arms, the stocky Vosk whose heads seemed to pulse with telepathic energy, and the massive Drakari whose armor-plated bodies made them look like walking tanks. These 3 species ruled the Confederation. Everyone knew it, even if no one said it aloud. A Lintari official floated to the center platform. "We will now address the military classification of species 2173, designation humans." Han hated that designation. Humans had names, histories, cultures. To the Confederation, they were just a number. After reviewing the historical and psychological data provided during Earth's admission process, the Lintari continued. "The Security Council has classified humans as a Category 3 volatile species," Ambassador Choi gasped. Han felt his stomach drop. Under Confederation Law, Section 42, all Category 3 species are prohibited from building, maintaining, or operating vessels with primary military functions. Han stood up. "That's absurd. How are we supposed to defend our colonies?" The Lintari's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "The Confederation provides protection to all member worlds. Your own defense forces are unnecessary and, given your species' history, dangerous." "Our history?" Han challenged. A Vosk representative stepped forward, its bulbous head glowing faintly. "Your kind has engaged in continuous warfare throughout your recorded history. Your global conflicts caused millions of deaths. Your entertainment glorifies violence. Your psychology shows dangerous aggression levels." Han wanted to argue, but Ambassador Choi pulled him back into his seat. "This decision is final," the Lintari said. "All Earth vessels must submit to inspection and certification as non-military craft. Any ship found with offensive capabilities will be immediately destroyed. This meeting is adjourned." 3 days later, Han sat in a small meeting room aboard the human diplomatic vessel Olive Branch. The irony of the name wasn't lost on him. "They've effectively disarmed us," he said to the room's other occupants. Admiral Park Do-yun, a broad-shouldered man with gray at his temples, nodded grimly. "Without warships, our colonies are defenseless," Ambassador Choi sighed. "We can appeal the decision, but it could take years." "We don't have years," said the 4th person in the room. Dr. Kim Nari was the youngest present, barely 30, but already Earth's leading expert in quantum physics. Her research had helped develop the faster-than-light drives that allowed humans to join the galactic community. "What do you mean?" Han asked. Nari activated a holographic display showing technical specifications. "These are the capabilities the Confederation claims their technology can achieve. And these," she added, bringing up a second display, "are the results of my research." Han wasn't a scientist, but even he could see the discrepancy. "They're lying about their tech. Or purposely understating it," Nari said. "Either way, they're keeping us in the dark, and there's more." She showed them reports of resource extraction operations beginning near human colony worlds. These started immediately after our Category 3 classification was submitted for review, almost like they knew the outcome before the decision. Han felt cold anger building inside him. They planned this. They're keeping us from building proper ships so they can take what they want. Admiral Park's expression darkened. "Classic strategy. Disarm your opponent before you raid their territory." Ambassador Choi looked troubled. "These are serious accusations. We need proof." "While we gather proof, our people could be in danger," Han said. The Tau Ceti colony has reported unidentified ships at the edge of their system. A message alert chimed. Han read it and his face paled. "What is it?" Admiral Park asked. "Intelligence from our observation post near Tau Ceti. They've identified the unknown ships." Han looked up, his eyes hard. "They're Drakari warships. But the Confederation promised protection for all member worlds," Ambassador Choi said. "It seems some members get more protection than others." Han replied bitterly. 1 week later, Han stood in Earth's orbital command center. Through the viewport, he could see the blue curve of his home planet. Around it floated the Confederation, inspection ships, sleek, predatory vessels that scanned every human craft for weapons. Admiral Park had called an emergency meeting of Earth's Defense Council. 20 military and scientific leaders sat around a large table, expressions grim. "The situation is clear," Admiral Park said. "The Confederation has classified us as Category 3 to prevent us from defending ourselves. Meanwhile, Drakari ships are positioning themselves near our resource-rich colonies. But we cannot simply ignore Confederation law," argued General Lee. "If we build warships, they'll destroy them and possibly impose further sanctions." Han stepped forward. "What if we built ships that don't look like warships?" The room fell, silent. "Explain, Captain," Admiral Park said. "The prohibition is against vessels with primary military functions. What if we built ships with primary civilian functions that could be converted?" Dr. Kim Nari stood up. "It's possible. We could design modular systems that appear to serve mining or commercial purposes, but could be reconfigured. The inspectors would find them." General Lee objected. Nari shook her head. "Not if we can mask their true signatures. I've been studying Confederation scanning technology. There are gaps we could exploit." Admiral Park leaned forward. "You're talking about deceiving the most powerful alliance in the galaxy." "I'm talking about protecting our people," Han said firmly. "The Confederation isn't what we thought it was. They've rigged the system against newer species like us." The room erupted in debate. Some thought the risk too great, others saw no alternative. Finally, Admiral Park raised his hand for silence. "Captain Han, Dr. Kim, develop this concept further. General Lee, assess what resources we could divert without alerting the Confederation. The rest of you, continue normal operations. No one speaks of this outside this room." As the meeting broke up, Han approached Nari. "Can we really hide military capabilities from their scanners?" She smiled slightly. "Humans are good at two things, Captain: fighting and finding ways around rules. Let's put both skills to use." That night, Han stood in his apartment overlooking Seoul. The city lights glimmered like stars. Somewhere above those lights, Confederation ships watched Earth, making sure humans followed the rules. His communication device chirped. A message from Admiral Park. "Project Phoenix approved. You'll command the first ship. Report to Lunar Base tomorrow." Han looked up at the night sky. The Confederation thought they had contained humanity with their rules and prohibitions. They thought humans would accept their place as a volatile species to be controlled. They were wrong. The stars had always called to humans. They had fought their way into space through sheer determination. No alien alliance would take that away. "We're coming," Han whispered to the sky. "And we're bringing ships you won't see coming." 6 months passed quickly. Han Jun now worked at Earth Defense Strategic Command, a plain-looking building hidden deep under the mountains near Busan. Here, far from prying alien eyes, humans planned their secret defense. Han studied the holographic display showing their first ship design. It wasn't pretty. Its outer hull looked rough and industrial, nothing like the sleek Confederation vessels. "It looks like a mining ship," Han said. Admiral Park Do-hyun nodded, his face showing rare satisfaction. "That's exactly the point. Stellar. Mining Operations is now officially Earth's largest resource extraction company." SMO wasn't real, of course. It was a shell, a fake company created to build their secret fleet. Dr. Kim Nari walked in, carrying a datapad. Her lab coat was wrinkled. She probably hadn't slept again. "The modular systems are ready for testing," she said. From the outside, they'll look like standard mining equipment, but with one command code, they can transform. She touched the display. The bulky mining drills rotated and connected in new configurations. Suddenly, what looked like industrial equipment became weapon systems. Impressive, Admiral Park said. But will it fool their scanners? Nari smiled. That's where my research team made the breakthrough. She explained how all energy weapons created unique quantum patterns. Confederation scanners looked for these patterns. Her team had found a way to mask them, making weapons look like mining equipment to the scanners. How long before we can build the first ship? Han asked. 3 months, Admiral Park said. But we face another problem. He introduced a new person who had just entered the room. This is Lee Ji-hoon, former diplomat to the Confederation. Lee was thin and soft-spoken, but his eyes were sharp. The inspection protocols are our biggest hurdle. Every new ship must be scanned by Confederation officials before it can leave Earth orbit. Can we beat the inspections? Han asked. Lee smiled slightly. That's why I'm here. I spent 5 years learning their bureaucracy. Their inspection teams are overworked and follow strict patterns. We can use that. Over the next weeks, they developed their plan. Lee would navigate the complex regulations. Nari would handle the technology. Han would train crews who could operate both mining equipment and weapons. Admiral Park would keep Earth's regular government from discovering their secret project. Hold still, the aide said as he adjusted Han's mining company uniform. The fake Stellar Mining Operations logo felt heavy on his chest. Today was inspection day. Their first ship, the SMV Phoenix, sat in the orbital construction dock. It looked like a bulky mining vessel, with large drill assemblies and cargo bays. Hidden inside were pulse cannons, missile arrays, and shield generators. Remember, you're just a mining captain, Lee Ji-hoon said. Bored with regulations, eager to start work. Han nodded. How many inspectors? 3. One Lintari leads the team. He's done thousands of inspections and usually rushes through them. But be careful of the Vosk assistant. She's newer and more thorough. The inspection team arrived in a small Confederation shuttle. The Lintari wore the gray uniform of the regulatory division. His 4 arms held various scanning devices. Behind him came the Vosk, her head pulsing with faint light and a small insectoid being Han didn't recognize. Captain. Han? The Lintari checked his data pad. I am Inspector Zelith. We will examine your vessel for compliance with Section 42 regulations. Han bowed slightly. Of course, Inspector. Though I'm not sure why mining ships need such thorough checks. Zelith's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. All new Earth vessels require inspection. Your history necessitates caution. The tour began. Han led them through cargo bays, crew quarters, and the bridge. The Phoenix was huge, but most spaces were actually empty. They would be filled with colonists and supplies for its first mission at least that's what the paperwork said. The Vosk inspector paused near one bulkhead, her large eyes narrowing. This section seems to have unusual power routing. Han's heart beat faster, but he kept his face calm. Standard backup systems for the drilling mechanisms. Mining in asteroid fields is dangerous work. She seemed unsatisfied and raised her scanner. Again. Inspector Zelith interrupted. We have 6 more ships to inspect today. Is there a problem? Something feels wrong, the Vosk said. Han held his breath. Nari had warned that Vosk might sense deception through their limited telepathy. He focused his mind on boring thoughts about mining operations. Your human metal ships always feel wrong, Zelith said impatiently. Their design is inefficient. The Vosk hesitated, then lowered her scanner. No problem, Chief Inspector. 3 hours later, the inspection was complete. The Phoenix received its certification as a non-military vessel. Han couldn't believe it had worked. As the inspection team prepared to leave, Zelith approached Han one last time. Your species has advanced quickly, Captain. Too quickly, some might say. Han kept his expression neutral. Humans are good at learning. Inspector. Indeed. I will be watching your company's progress with great interest. The Lintari's eyes blinked in that strange sequence again. Very great interest. After the Confederation shuttle departed, Lee joined Han on the observation deck. "He suspects something," Han said. Lee nodded. "But suspicion isn't proof. The Phoenix passed inspection. That's what matters." Over the next few months, 4 more ships passed inspection. Each one looked like a mining vessel or colony transport but contained hidden military systems. In her lab, Dr. Kim Nari worked on improving their deception. Her team developed better ways to hide weapons and stronger shields that looked like standard radiation protection. "The quantum masking is holding," she told Han during one of their regular meetings. "But I'm worried about Zelith. He's requesting more detailed scans with each new ship." Han frowned. "Can we beat better scans?" "For now. But eventually, they'll develop technology that can see through our tricks." Admiral Park joined them, his face serious. "Then we need to move faster. Intelligence reports more Drakari activity near our outer colonies. They're getting bolder." He showed them images of Drakari ships approaching the Tau Ceti colony. They didn't attack, but their presence was a clear threat. "How many ships do we need?" Han asked. 20 minimum, Admiral Park said. "Enough to defend our major colonies and Earth itself." "That will take years," Nari objected. "We don't have years," Lee Ji-hoon said from the doorway. He entered holding a data pad. "I've been analyzing Confederation records. There's a pattern." He showed them data on 17 other species classified as Category 3 in the past century. Each followed the same path: restriction of military development, followed by resource extraction in their territories. "First they disarm you, then they take what they want," Lee said grimly. Admiral Park studied the data. "How long before they start taking our resources?" "Based on these patterns, we have less than 18 months, Lee answered. Han looked at the star map showing Earth's colonies. Over 20 worlds with thousands of human settlers, all vulnerable. "Then we have work to do," Han said. "How soon can I take command of the Phoenix?" "It's almost ready," Nari said. "Final systems check next week." Admiral Park nodded. "Then we proceed as planned. The Phoenix and the other ships will launch as mining vessels. They'll establish a presence near our colonies. And if the Drakari attack?" Han asked. The Admiral's eyes were cold. "Then the galaxy will learn that humans don't follow rules that threaten our survival." 1 month later, Han stood on the bridge of the SMV Phoenix as it prepared to leave Earth orbit. To any observer, it was just another mining ship. Its holds contained actual mining equipment, and its crew wore SMO uniforms. But beneath the industrial exterior lay the heart of a warship. Every crew member was a trained military officer. Every mining drill could become a weapon. As the engines powered up, Han thought about Inspector Zelith's words. Humans had advanced quickly, too quickly for the Confederation's comfort. "Course set for Tau Ceti colony," the helmsman reported. "Proceed," Han ordered. "Standard mining vessel speed." As the Phoenix moved away from Earth, 5 more mining vessels prepared to follow in the coming weeks. None looked dangerous. None would register as threats to Confederation scanners. But if anybody threatened human colonies, they would discover how creative humans could be when their survival was at stake. Han watched Earth shrink in the view screen. The deception had begun. Han Jun stared at the display in disbelief. 50 more ships. Earth had built 50 more warships in secret, each more powerful than his Phoenix. "How?" he asked Admiral Park. "How did you hide this from the Confederation? From everyone?" "We didn't hide them all in the same way," Park explained. "Some were built in deep space far from shipping lanes. Others were disguised as space stations or research outposts. The Confederation was so focused on ships leaving Earth that they never thought to look elsewhere." The Admiral smiled slightly. "And Dr. Kim Nari's quantum masking technology improved with each generation." As if summoned by her name, Nari entered the room. She looked different, more confident, less like the overworked scientist Han remembered. "Captain Han," she greeted him. "Your actions at Tau Ceti forced our hand, but perhaps it's for the best. We're ready." "Ready for what?" Han asked. "War with the Confederation?" Admiral Park shook his head. "Not war. Negotiation, from a position of strength. On the main screen, the Confederation fleet remained in position between Earth and Mars. 30 warships against Earth's 70. The numbers favored humans, but the Confederation had centuries more experience in space combat. "They're sending a transmission," Lee Ji-hoon reported. The screen changed to show 3 faces, a Lintari, a Vosk, and a Drakari, representatives of the dominant Confederation species. "This display of military strength confirms our concerns about your species," the Lintari said. "You have violated our most sacred laws. Laws designed to leave us defenseless," Admiral Park replied calmly. "We invite you to a neutral meeting to discuss this situation. Otherwise, we are prepared to defend ourselves." The Vosk representative's head pulsed with angry energy. "You dare threaten the Confederation?" "Not a threat," Park said. "An invitation to talk. We suggest the neutral station at Proxima Centauri. Our ships will escort your representatives." The 3 aliens conferred silently. Finally, the Lintari spoke. "We accept, but only 5 of your ships may approach the station. The rest must remain at Earth." After the transmission ended, Admiral Park turned to Han. "Captain, you'll command our escort fleet. Take your Phoenix and 4 of our new Defender-class ships." "Is this wise?" Han asked. "They could be planning a trap." "Almost certainly," Park agreed. "But this isn't just about showing our strength. It's about revealing the truth. Lee and Nari will accompany you with evidence the Confederation won't be able to deny." The neutral station orbited Proxima Centauri b, the closest exoplanet to Earth. It was built for trade and diplomacy between various species, not controlled by any single government. Han's small fleet arrived first, taking defensive positions around the station. The Phoenix docked, and Han led his team inside. The station's main conference room featured a large, circular table with translation devices at each seat. Viewports showed the stars and the reddish light of Proxima Centauri. "Here," Lieutenant Song reported from the Phoenix. 3 Confederation ships approaching. Shortly after, the Confederation representatives entered. The same 3 aliens from the transmission, plus aides and guards. Following them were representatives from several other species, minor members of the Confederation who had requested to observe the historic meeting. "This assembly is irregular," the Lintari representative began, "but the severity of Earth's violations demands immediate attention." "I am Admiral Vroon of the Security Council," the Drakari introduced himself, his armored body creaking as he sat. "We have monitored your fleet movements. Impressive for such a young species, but ultimately futile. And I am High Counselor Telk," the Vosk said, her bulbous head glowing. "Your deception proves humans cannot be trusted." Han let them finish before speaking. "We are not here to discuss our violations. We are here to discuss yours." This caused murmurs among the observers. The Confederation representatives looked surprised, then angry. "Earth stands accused of building prohibited warships," Telk said. "You have no standing to accuse the Confederation." Lee Ji-hoon stepped forward with his data pad. "We have evidence that the Confederation has systematically exploited Category 3 species by denying them the means to defend themselves, then taking their resources." He displayed records showing the pattern across 17 species. In each case, after classification as Category 3, resource-rich worlds were suddenly reclassified for extraction. The native species lost their homes and resources. Admiral Vroon slammed his armored fist on the table. "These are internal Confederation matters. The attack on our Tau Ceti colony was not internal," Han said. "It was planned. The Drakari were given permission to take our world while the Confederation prevented us from defending it." The observers looked disturbed by this. One, a small, avian being, spoke up. "Is this true, High Counselor?" Before the Confederation representatives could answer, Dr. Kim Nari stepped forward. "There is more," she said. "The Confederation has lied about technology as well. She activated a device she had brought. A complex holographic display appeared above the table. The Confederation claims certain technologies are impossible: faster than light communication, phase shifting, advanced quantum shielding. But they aren't impossible. They exist. This is nonsense, the Lintari said dismissively. Nari smiled. Is it? Your ships use quantum entanglement for instant communication across light years. Your personal shields use phase shifting to deflect energy. Technologies you told us couldn't exist. We have detected them, Han added. Our ship's sensors have recorded these impossible technologies in use by Confederation vessels. The Lintari looked genuinely shocked. Your sensors could not possibly. Human science advanced quickly because we had to, Nari interrupted. We needed to protect ourselves. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. The Confederation had been lying to newer species, keeping advanced technology for themselves while taking resources from worlds they had rendered defenseless. Suddenly, High Counselor Telk's head glowed brightly. Han felt a pressure in his mind. The Vosk was attempting telepathic influence, but nothing happened. Telk looked confused, then alarmed. Your mental attacks won't work either, Nari said calmly. We've developed countermeasures against Vosk. Telepathy. The observer species were now openly discussing among themselves. Some looked angry, others frightened. You've deliberately shared classified information with non-council species, Admiral Vroon growled, gesturing toward the observers. Yes, Han said simply, because they deserve to know how the Confederation really operates. The avian observer stepped forward. My species was classified Category 3 30 years ago. We lost 3 colony worlds to resource extraction. We were told it was Confederation law that we had no choice. Other observers shared similar stories. The pattern was the same across dozens of worlds. The Lintari representative tried to regain control. This meeting is over. Earth will face consequences for these baseless accusations. They aren't baseless, Li Ji-hoon said. He transmitted data to all the observers' devices. This evidence is now being shared with every member species in the Confederation. The truth can't be hidden anymore. Han stood tall. We built warships because we discovered the truth. The Galactic Confederation isn't a peaceful union protecting all members. It's a system designed to keep power and resources in the hands of the founding species. He looked directly at the 3 representatives. Humans weren't allowed to build warships, but we did it anyway. And we're glad we did. Back on the Phoenix, Han received an urgent transmission from Admiral Park. The Confederation fleet is breaking formation, Park reported. Some ships are returning to their homeworlds. Others are moving to defensive positions. Your revelation is causing chaos. Han wasn't surprised. What are our orders, sir? Return to Earth. The Confederation Council has requested an emergency session. All member species are demanding answers. And Earth? Admiral Park's expression was grim but satisfied. We've been invited to present our evidence formally. The Confederation won't risk attacking us now, not with so many of their own members questioning their leadership. As the Phoenix undocked from the station, Han watched the stars. The galaxy had changed today. The comfortable lies of the Confederation had been exposed. Lieutenant Song joined him on the bridge. Captain, the crew is asking what happens next. Han considered the question. Earth had built warships against Confederation law. They had revealed secrets and shattered the illusion of unity. There would be consequences, but also opportunities. Next, Han said, we help build a better Confederation. One that protects all species, not just the powerful ones. The Phoenix turned toward Earth, leading its small fleet home. Behind them, the foundations of a galactic empire trembled. 3 months passed. The Galactic Confederation was in turmoil. After Earth's revelations, 7 other species had joined humans in creating a new alliance, the Independent Systems Coalition. These were all former Category 3 species who had suffered under Confederation restrictions. Han Jun, now Admiral Han, stood on the bridge of his new flagship. The ESS Defiance no longer pretended to be a mining vessel. It was proudly, openly, a warship. Earth's emblem decorated its hull. Visible, for all to see. Status report, Han requested. All systems normal, Admiral. reported Commander Song, his former lieutenant now promoted. The coalition fleet is in formation, ready to escort the diplomatic vessel. Han nodded. Today was important. The first official meeting between the HFY coalition and the reformed Confederation Council. The Confederation had changed dramatically. After the evidence of exploitation became public, many middle-tier species demanded new leadership. The Lintari, Vosk, and Drakari no longer controlled everything. New voices were being heard. Admiral, incoming transmission from Earth. Commander, Song announced. The view screen showed Admiral Park looking more rested than Han had seen him in years. Admiral Han, everything ready on your end? Park asked. Yes, sir. Coalition fleet is prepared to escort Dr. Kim and Ambassador Lee to the meeting. Park nodded. Good. Remember, this is a diplomatic mission, not a show of force, but we're not hiding our capabilities anymore. Han finished. Exactly. Safe journey, Admiral. As the transmission ended, Han looked out at the ships accompanying the Defiance. Vessels from all 8 coalition species flew together, each designed differently but all powerful. They had spent the past months sharing technology. Humans taught quantum masking. The bird-like Irani shared their advanced navigation systems. The crystalline Tholians contributed their unique shield designs. Together, they were stronger than any one species could be alone. The meeting took place on a massive space station at the edge of what had once been Confederation-controlled space. It was neutral ground, perfect for the historic occasion. Dr. Kim Nari and Ambassador Lee Jae-hoon led Earth's delegation. Han accompanied them as military advisor, along with representatives from the other coalition species. The station's grand meeting hall had been expanded to accommodate all participants. Nearly 300 species had sent representatives, almost every known spacefaring civilization. The 3 dominant Confederation races had new leaders. The former ones had been removed after the scandal. These new representatives seemed more open to change, though Han remained cautious. The Reformation Council welcomes the Independent Systems Coalition, announced the new Lintari chairperson. We gather to discuss a new relationship between our peoples. Ambassador Lee stepped forward. We appreciate this opportunity. The coalition doesn't seek conflict. We seek fairness for all species. The meeting began formally with each side presenting proposals. The Confederation, now calling itself the Reformed Confederation, offered to abolish the category system that had classified species as volatile. In return, they asked for coalition help with a growing problem: piracy in the outer systems where Confederation authority had weakened during the upheaval. During a break, Han spoke quietly with Nari. They need our help. That's a good sign. Nari nodded. They've realized that suppressing other species doesn't work. Cooperation is more effective. Do you think it will last? Han asked. Before she could answer, they were approached by a small group of aliens from lesser-known species. Admiral Han? One stepped forward, a reptilian being with iridescent scales. I am Captain Varex of the Solarian Defense Force. My people were classified Category 3 50 years ago. Han nodded respectfully. I've heard of your situation. Your colony in the Orion sector was taken for resource extraction. Yes, we lost many people. Varex hesitated. We have a request. The Solarian government wishes to join your coalition. We believe your principles of mutual defense and technological sharing would benefit us greatly. Similar conversations were happening throughout the hall. Species that had suffered under the old system were looking to the coalition for leadership and protection. The final day of meetings brought a surprise. A new delegation arrived, representatives from a species no one recognized. They call themselves the Keldari, Lee explained to Han. They live beyond what we thought was the edge of explored space. They've been watching us for some time. The Keldari spokesman addressed the assembled delegates. We have observed your confederation from afar for many years. We chose not to make contact because we saw how newer species were treated. This caused Murmurs throughout the hall. But recent events have given us hope. This new balance of power between the Coalition and the Reformed Confederation suggests positive change. The Keldari turned to the human delegation. It was your species that forced this change. Humans weren't allowed to build warships, but you did it anyway. And in doing so, you created a better galaxy for all. Han felt a strange mix of pride and humility. Humans had broken the rules, yes, but for good reasons. That evening, a formal ceremony marked the signing of the first treaty between the Coalition and the Reformed Confederation. The document recognized both organizations as equal partners in maintaining galactic peace. Most importantly, it established the right of all species to defend themselves and their territories. As the representatives signed, Han stood with Nari and Lee at the back of the hall. "Did you ever think it would end like this?" Lee asked. "Not when we were sneaking mining ships past inspectors," Han admitted. Nari smiled. "I knew humans would find a way. We always do." After the ceremony, Han returned to the Defiance. From the viewport in his quarters, he could see Earth ships flying alongside vessels from dozens of species, former enemies now working together. His communication device beeped. A message from Admiral Park. "Return to Earth. New mission." Attached was a report about unexplored regions beyond Keldari space. Strange energy readings, unknown signals, a frontier that needed exploring. Han smiled. This was what humans did best: push boundaries, explore the unknown, face challenges. The next day, as the Defiance prepared to return to Earth, another ship approached. It wasn't from the Coalition or the Confederation. It was smaller, with an unusual design. "Unknown vessel requesting communication, Admiral," Commander Song reported. The view screen showed a being unlike any Han had seen before, with 4 eyes like a Lintari but a body structure more like a human. "I am Captain Mora of the Talari Exploration. Vessel Horizon," the alien said. "My government sent me to request assistance." "What kind of assistance?" Han asked. "Protection. Our homeworld faces threats from forces at the galaxy's edge. Forces beyond what we can handle alone." Captain Mora hesitated. "We heard what humans did. How you built ships when you weren't allowed to. How you changed things." Han exchanged glances with Commander Song. This was unexpected but not surprising. Word had spread quickly about Earth's actions. "Return with us to Earth, Captain Mora," Han said. "We'll discuss how the Coalition can help your people." As the Defiance began its journey home, Han thought about how much had changed. 1 year ago, humans had been classified as volatile, forbidden from defending themselves. Now they led a coalition of free species and were asked for help by those in need, all because they refused to accept rules that left them vulnerable, because they found a creative solution to an unfair restriction. Humans weren't allowed to build warships, but they did it anyway, and the galaxy was better for it. From his viewport, Han watched the stars. Beyond them lay new challenges, new mysteries, new frontiers. But this time, humans wouldn't face them alone, and they wouldn't face them unarmed. "Set course for Earth," he ordered. "Let's see what's next." Supreme Commander Valk of the Void Hegemony stood on the bridge of his massive command ship. Around him, officers worked at their stations, preparing for the greatest battle in hegemony history. Through the view screen, Valk could see hundreds of warships gathered around his own. 217 vessels, the largest fleet ever assembled by the hegemony. "All ships report ready, Supreme Commander," said his second-in-command, a tall Drakari named Krell. "Excellent." Valk's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of satisfaction among his species. "Our scouts confirm the human warship Thunderstorm is currently patrolling the outer colonies?" "Yes, Supreme Commander. It was seen near their mining outpost in the Tau Ceti system yesterday. It would take at least 3 days for it to return to Earth at maximum speed." Valk showed his teeth in what his species considered a smile. "Then Earth is vulnerable. The humans have grown too confident, spreading rumors about multiple warships when our intelligence confirms they have built only one." Krell looked less certain. "The humans are known for their tricks, Supreme Commander. Perhaps we should send a smaller force first to test their defenses." No. Valk slammed his fist on the arm of his command chair. That is what the Targal did, and they failed. We will strike with our full might, overwhelm their defenses, and be in orbit around Earth before their precious thunderstorm can return. By then, it will be too late. He turned to his communications officer. Send the order to all ships. We begin our jump to Earth in 1 hour. On Earth, Admiral Han stood in the main control room of Space Defense Headquarters. Around him, dozens of officers monitored screens showing the positions of civilian ships being modified, according to Captain Kim's plan. 20 large transport and cargo vessels had been equipped with special projection technology and hidden weapons. Are the civilians safely evacuated from those ships? The Admiral asked. Yes, sir, replied a young officer. All 20 ships are now operated by volunteer crews from our defense forces and the Thunderstorm. In position, Admiral, hidden behind Earth's moon with full stealth systems engaged. Admiral Han nodded, his face tense but determined. Now we wait for our early warning systems to detect the hegemony fleet. He didn't have to wait long. Less than an hour later, alarms sounded throughout the control room. Multiple FTL signatures detected at the edge of our system, Admiral, shouted the sensor officer. Over 200 ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Right on schedule, Admiral Han said quietly. Send the signal to Captain Kim. Operation Thunder Echo begins now. Captain June Kim stood on the command deck of a converted cargo ship, now designated Echo 1. Around him, a small crew operated the vessel's new systems. Signal from Earth Defense, Captain, said his communications officer. The hegemony fleet has arrived. Operation Thunder Echo is a go. June took a deep breath. Activate projection systems. All Echo ships move into formation positions. Throughout the Earth system, 20 civilian ships moved into carefully planned positions. On each vessel, powerful projection systems came to life, creating massive holographic images around the ships. Where there had been simple cargo vessels, now appeared perfect copies of the HSS Thunderstorm, 20 identical black warships, forming a defensive sphere around Earth. Aboard the Hegemony command ship, Supreme Commander Valk stared in shock at his sensor displays. What is this? He demanded. Our intelligence said there was only one thunderstorm. Krell checked the readings, his scales paling with fear. Sensors detect 20 warships, Supreme Commander, all matching the thunderstorm signature. They have us surrounded. Impossible, Valk hissed. It must be a trick. Before he could give further orders, all communication channels were suddenly filled with a transmission. Captain June Kim's face appeared on screens throughout the Hegemony fleet. Attention Void Hegemony vessels. This is Captain Kim of Earth Defense. You have entered sovereign human space without authorization. Withdraw immediately. Valk snarled at the screen. One ship cannot stand against 200. Your thunderstorm will be reduced to scrap, and Earth will follow. Kim's expression didn't change. You misunderstand. The HSS Thunderstorm is not coming to engage you. Suddenly, sensor alarms blared across the Hegemony fleet as the 20 Thunderstorm images moved into attack positions. We are already here, Kim said simply. Confusion spread through the Hegemony fleet. Captains called for instructions as the massive thunderstorm images approached from all directions. It's a trap, Krell warned. We should regroup. No, Valk shouted. They are trying to scare us with illusions. The real thunderstorm is days away. These must be fakes. All ships, attack formation Delta, target the nearest Earth vessel and fire. The Hegemony ships began to move, trying to form a defensive sphere of their own. But their practiced formations fell apart as each captain tried to avoid the approaching thunderstorm images. As the Hegemony fleet scattered in confusion, the real thunderstorm emerged from behind Earth's moon. Its stealth systems, deactivating to reveal its true position. On its bridge, Captain Sun gave the order they had been waiting for. Target their command ships and communication arrays. Fire precision beams at 5% power. The real thunderstorm fired, its weapons far more powerful than the small defensive. Lasers hidden on the decoy ships. Thin beams of intense light cut through space, hitting 5 Hegemony command ships with surgical precision. The vessels didn't explode but suddenly lost power, their engines and weapons disabled by the careful attacks. On Echo 1, June watched the sensor readings with satisfaction. The thunderstorm has engaged. Phase 2. Begin now. The 20 decoy ships activated their hidden weapons. While not nearly as powerful as the real thunderstorm systems, they were still enough to damage the confused and disorganized hegemony vessels. Supreme Commander Valk watched in horror as his carefully planned attack fell apart. Some of his ships fired at the holographic images, their weapons passing harmlessly through the projections. Others were hit by fire from the real thunderstorm or the hidden weapons on the decoy vessels. Our communications network is down. Supreme Commander, Krell reported, his voice shaking. We can't coordinate the fleet. Another officer looked up from his station. 6 more command ships disabled. 30 vessels reporting heavy damage. The rest are requesting orders. Valk stared at the chaos on his screens. His perfect attack had turned into a disaster. The humans had tricked him, using his own fear against him. June's face appeared on his screen again. Supreme Commander Valk, your attack has failed. You have 10 minutes to order your fleet to retreat before we open fire with our main batteries. This is not possible, Valk whispered. How can one species defeat the mighty hegemony? Krell looked at him desperately. Supreme Commander, we must retreat. We can rebuild, plan again, find the weakness in their defenses. After a long moment, Valk nodded. Send the order to all ships. Retreat back to hegemony space. The mighty invasion fleet scattered, jumping away to safety in all directions. Some ships were too damaged to make the jump and were left behind, their crews evacuating in escape pods. In Earth's defense control room, cheers erupted as the hegemony fleet retreated. Admiral Han closed his eyes briefly in relief before turning to address his staff. Well done, everyone. Contact all Echo ships and the thunderstorm. Tell them to maintain positions until we confirm all enemy vessels have left our system. 2 hours later, the leaders of the operation gathered aboard the real thunderstorm. Admiral Han, Captain Sun, Captain Kim, Lieutenant Park, and Jin Kang sat in the ship's conference room. The plan worked perfectly, Admiral Han said, his tired face showing a small smile. The hegemony believed they were facing 20 thunderstorms. The projections won't fool them a second time, Captain Sun pointed out. We need to be prepared for their return. I don't think they'll be back soon, Jin said, reviewing data on her tablet. My sources report chaos in the hegemony leadership. Some believe we have a secret technology that creates real warships, not just projections. Others think we can teleport the thunderstorm instantly across great distances. June nodded with satisfaction. Let them believe whatever makes them most afraid. The legend of the thunderstorm grows with each telling. And that legend protects us better than any weapon, Admiral Han agreed. Later, as June stood alone on the observation deck, watching Earth turn peacefully below, Lieutenant Hyun Park joined him. Quite a story we've created, she said softly. Yes, June agreed. A warship so deadly that the galaxy's only response was to run. Hyun looked out at the stars. Do you think it will last? This peace we've built on fear? June thought for a moment. Not forever, but it gives us time. Time to build real strength to find our place among the stars. He smiled at her. And maybe someday the galaxy will respect humans not because they fear our weapons, but because they value our friendship. I'd like to see that day, Hyun said. We will, June promised, looking back at the small blue planet they had just defended. After all, if humans can defeat an enemy fleet with holographic projections and one real warship, there's nothing we can't do if we put our minds to it. As if to emphasize his words, the thunderstorm's engines hummed to life, taking the mighty vessel back to its patrol route, ready to defend humanity's place in the stars not just with its weapons,